This podcast is presented by Zach Labs, Cosbon, the instant costume adhesive. Have you ever had issues using materials to build cosplay costumes, theater props, or everyday repair? We have the solution you've been looking for. Zach Labs proudly presents our latest product, Cosbon, the instant costume adhesive. What you get is a 8.5 by 12 inch sheet. You simply peel off both sides much like you would double stick tape, except this isn't that. This is our patent-pending microfiber-infused adhesive that has a tensile strength of up to 100 pounds. This unique adhesive sheet is instant, and boy, do we mean instant. Activation is different than other products, as ours works purely by pressure. Simply peel and stick, applying even force, and it bonds. Instantly. It's human-safe, non-toxic, pet-safe, no fumes, and the best part, it won't ever stick to your hands. Rated for up to 75 wash cycles before starting to give. Great in the cold, rain, and even the heat. Stick anything to almost anything. Metals, plastics, most cloths, and best of all for all you cosplayers and costume builders, is all of your foam materials. While it does stick instantly, leave it alone with a bit of pressure for 24 hours and it cures to even stronger. So wave your magic wand and just use Cosbond, the instant costume adhesive. You are listening to a Dynamic Works Productions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. What's going on, Fork family? It's your host, as always, author, podcaster, and gamer, Tim K. Trotter, flying solo on this week's Fork in Your Ear podcast. Solo for a number of reasons. One, you noticed, we didn't do a show last week. Mike is experiencing massive internet outages across his entire state because Hurricane Florence has butt-fucked him up the butt-fuck canal. Yep, that's right. That's great. That's the great thing that we're going with. 30 seconds into the show. Success. And then lots of crazy things have been going on in my life as well, which I'll get about in... Get about? That's not how you say things. See, this is what happens when it's just me, a microphone, and I'm playing a little bit of PS4 Spider-Man, just web slinging around the city. This is exactly the kind of crap that you don't want when you're flying solo. So all you aspiring podcast people out there who can do a solo show, God bless you. I don't know how the fuck you do it. But we're going to attempt to do that because we need to get a show out. So I figured I'd just go ascending up the topics list from our Fork in Your Ear Discord, which you can find on Twitter at GetForkPod. First big link there. Easy to get into. We don't bite. So... bunch of tech stuff has occurred. So I think we talked about last podcast that Blue Yeti Nano stealth launched recently. But bigger than that, Verizon has announced a 5G, that's right, better than 4G LTE, home internet and TV service launches October 1st. And it's going to have speeds ranging from 300 megabits per second to 1 gigabit per second. For those who don't know the speeds of that, the Comcast internet that I'm using right now, which is the highest tier I can get in my particular area, goes to 250. So that's considerably faster than that. And then the other crazy thing about it is it'll be wireless, so it's on Verizon's new 5G broadband internet service, as they're calling it. It starts October 1st. It's going to launch specifically in Houston, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, and Sacramento. And if you already have a Verizon account, it's only $50 a month. So that's like nothing to add on. And it's $70 for those who don't have a Verizon account. And the thing about it is it's unlimited. Like, completely unlimited. I mean, let me rephrase that. So they don't call it unlimited. They just say there's no data caps. So that's better than what the unlimited has been the last couple of years, I guess, in regards to cell phones and whatnot and all that sort of thing. There's a pretty awesome YouTube video by these YouTube people called Motherboard, and they had this documentary on how iFixit became the world's best iPhone teardown team. And they don't just tear down iPhones, they tear down everything under the sun and build guides for them. But they have a very fascinating story on that, and I encourage people to check it out. Or if you don't want to find the link on your own, you can hop on over to our Discord, where it's there in the technology section. Not to be left out of the 5G home internet wireless race, as of yesterday, recording on a Saturday, T-Mobile announced 5G home internet as well. And they are, I'm reading the thing here, it's the first time I'm reading it actually. They are promising speeds they're saying they're starting at 100 megabits download speed out of the gate, but will increase those speeds between 300 megabits and 500 megabits for 200 plus million people by 2024. T-Mobile says that it'll only be available in areas where network capacity exceeds mobile requirements and is sufficient to support in-home services. That, I guess, equates to 52% of U.S. zip codes. And they're hypothetically theorizing that they could have 1.9 million 5G home internet customers by 2021. They also are going to make 5G home internet available without the need for installation of devices by a professional, and could eliminate expensive setup costs and allow customers the option for self-provision of the equipment. They're also suggesting that future phones 5G hotspot as a in-home option could be possible as well. Yeah, but no other details apparently. But I guess everybody's going to get in on the wireless in-home internet. It makes sense because, as you know, even though people like AT&T and in some places, I guess AT&T, Verizon, God, who's back east? I guess Charter, is Charter still a thing? Turner, I don't even know who's back east. I don't live back east. Don't know. But you know, there's going to be competing markets between wireless and landlines competing for internet speeds in space. I wouldn't be surprised at all if, one of the big telephone companies bought more landline options and stuff. Although it seems like you've got AT&T, you've got Verizon, T-Mobile and Sprint are still trying to merge, so that could become a wrecking ball. But it kind of seems to me like probably one of them might try to buy Comcast. I don't know. I think Comcast is really big, my understanding, because they do own NBC Universal, as well as Sci-Fi and stuff like that. So it's and they've been at it a while. So I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out in several years. Because a lot of people probably don't remember from the 80s, Bell South Communications, which became AT&T. So,
And we all remember Singular Wireless, right? Also got bought by AT&T. So there you go. Those types of things. Technology-wise, they announced the iPhone XS and XS Max, which I guess I have to say now. I, like most of the internet, even though I'm an Apple fanboy, agree that it is a totally retarded name. Why would you not just keep it with the plus? Like you've had years of plus phones. So what's going to happen next year? You're going to get the Plus Max? So dumb. So dumb. But whatever. Biggest improvements to the XS phone, other than 50% faster processor. The XS is going to have 4 gigs of RAM this year. Last year they had 3. It's got better cameras, and their neural engine has a 50% boost in transistor capacity. So I guess it can do more operations per second. And it actually gets the XS phone gets 30 minutes better battery life than the X. I know people call it 10. I just want to call it an X, so I'm gonna go with that. Who's gonna stop me? That's right, nobody. Solo Tim, renegading through the night, even though it's the middle of the afternoon. I'm definitely always excited at Apple press conferences. I'm a real big tech guy, and even though I'm not a cold coder or build computers or anything like that, like I really just fucking appreciate tech and how all that came about to be and stuff in the early 80s and stuff like that. And I really dig like the advances in technology. Like, I mean, I'm not just like, I'll watch the Google press conferences and the Samsung press conferences, even though I don't own either of those products, just because I'm curious about how they communicate about their technological advances and stuff. And obviously biased, but at the same time, I do believe Apple does do a better job of it. They are one of the oldest hats in the ring, as it were. Some other cool things that they announced. Obviously, they've got the XS. I about called it the same fucking thing that I thought they were going to call it. The XS Max, which is the new plus size phone. Both of these new phones are in the same form factor with the notch and the Face ID. Face ID is now 2x improved. The sensor itself is not actually changed from last year's 10, but the back-end chip that's running it has been improved by 50%. So I myself like Face ID, and I think it works great 85% of the time. That other 15%, it literally fucking hates if I have sunglasses on, and the summer's been real hot over here in Washington, so I've been wearing a lot of sunglasses while I'm driving. And so like I'll go to like activate my phone, and it'll be like, fuck you, I don't like your sunglasses. So I have to put in my stupid fucking passcode, like old school style, which is dumb. They need to come up with a thing. Obviously not this year, but I would imagine next year we'll probably have Face ID 2, I would imagine. And hopefully they have some sort of extra sensor so that they can figure out when you're wearing sunglasses. Like it's fine with regular glasses. My understanding is because it's an infrared dot projector, and sunglasses, the polarization of the lenses to keep out the UV lights. Guess what infrared is? It's UV. So it just completely fucks that, and since it can't see your eyes, it registers you as fail, which sucks, unfortunately. And then the only other problem I've had with Face ID is it's like the middle of the night and it's like pitch black, and usually I've got my screen setting like low as possible, because nighttime. There's not enough light on your face for it to get a good read. Like sometimes it'll get it, because they advertise it as working in the dark, and other times it just won't. And my understanding is there's 2 factors there. One, the actual ambient light around the skin, because it is using the front camera as well as infrared light, and so it can probably see the map, but it can't see the rest of your face well. But there's also what they call a flood illuminator, which I guess throws out another type of light that hits your skin so that the infrared dots can like bounce back their beams back into the scanner. Um, and it just doesn't always work, but only in pitch black scenarios. Um, so like, I mean, it does work in the dark. It just doesn't work all the time, which is kind of unfortunate. So I'd imagine whatever next year, 2019's Face ID 2 would probably have a better flood illuminator, or I don't know, lasers or something. I don't fucking know. So the Max phone, I think carries like a couple extra hours of runtime compared to last year's X. And then the XS gets 30 minutes better battery time, which surprisingly has a smaller battery than last year's X phone. Probably the improvements in the chip and lower power consumption, all that jazz. So yeah. So but two of the big things with the XS models of phones, both the regular and the Max, is they basically have a new SSD controller, solid state drive controller, and they allow now up to 512 gigabytes of onboard storage, which for people like myself who have a last year's 10 with 256 gigabytes and I'm fucking maxed out, I'm excited about. I'm not gonna lie. It'll be nice to have 90% of my computer on my phone, or at least all my media shit on my phone, rather than taking up space on my terabyte SSD on my laptop, which we use to record this show. So that'll be nice. Actually, it'll be real nice. The other big thing, and as everybody knows, big Apple Watch fan, despite the fact that mine blew up in August, and I was also out of my Apple Care warranty, which really sucks. So it's going to cost me like $230 to repair. And I was like, they're going to announce new Apple Watches in September. I'd better wait. And even though I don't have the funds for a new Apple Watch right now, boy doggy, that new Apple Watch, probably this year's biggest innovation. So it's a complete brand new redesign of the Apple Watch. And I guess it's actually probably a little bit of a misnomer. So it's the same basic shape as the existing Apple Watches, but it's thinner, and they've relocated some of the speakers and the mic placement, and they've re-engineered the crown, and they've also got edge-to-edge OLED screen, whereas before they did a nice clever trick where they had a black band around it, and because it was a black screen and it has pure blacks on OLED, the screen was actually quite small. Think of it like everybody remember how the difference was between like the original fucking Game Boy and then it went to like the Game Boy Color and then it went to like the Game Boy Advance. Like that's the kind of difference we're thinking with the screen in the Apple Series Watch 3. Apple Series Watch 3? That's terrible. There's nobody here to fact check me. I'm just going to run rampant through the streets with just fucking words shit spewing out of my dumpster fire mouth. It's awful. It's really it's terrible. The Apple Watch Series 4. Everything about it is faster and all that sort of jazz. But the big news this year is it does have an actual FDA and American Heart Association approved ECG, electrocardiogram scanner. And not day one, but in a month there's going to be an update, and so you can take electrocardiograms out of the box, but in a month it will actually detect if your heart has got into atrial fibrillation, also commonly referred to as AFib. I know a little bit about this because my father has AFib and has gone through it and heart surgery and all this sort of stuff. And basically what it does is an irregular heartbeat. And you might not think, oh, well, your heart's beating. It's just, instead of thumpa thumpa thumpa, it's like the thump 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 thump. Like it's just kind of all over the fucking map. And you wouldn't think that is like a huge deal because your heart's still working. Like there's nothing wrong with it necessarily. but basically electrical signals cause it to beat improperly, basically. And like think about it like when you're playing like a video game and there's a lot of action on the screen and you start losing frames. Like most games are 30 or 60 frames a second, and when you start losing frames, like the game gets stuttery and stuff. And like you can live with it, but it still sucks. And it's kind of the same way for a human, except because your heart's running it's a major vital fucking organ. It starts throwing other things out of whack, like the oxygen to your brain and fucking bladder functions and like all these other functions of your fucking, you know, biomechanical vessel that is a human. So yeah, so the fact that the Apple Watch is the first consumer device that doesn't require a doctor's prescription to get an electrocardiogram, that is a huge deal for anybody interested in both their own physical fucking health and well-being, but also because an ECG is non-invasive, and this one, much like their heart rate sensor, it's medical grade. Like it will do what they do it a couple of different ways. I've seen my dad go through it. They've got where they put the little nipple suction cup things like on your chest. There's like fucking clamps. They clamp your skin, clamp your finger, and they basically send electrical current. And because it'll tell you how it's going, like the heart beating, that can use to be determined if you've got enough stats, like enough scans, to determine if it's in AFib or not. And then from there you can determine, well, why the fuck is it in AFib? And then there's 1,001 different reasons for that. But the new Apple Watch Series 4 electrocardiograms out of the box, coming in a month, will actually be able to tell if your heart is in AFib. And it'll print out like a PDF, and you can take it to your doctor and be like, hey, I probably need to get this looked at. So it's really cool. It's just really fucking cool. And for those wondering, there has been third-party gadgets, as they were, that you can get for electrocardiograms if you're not into an Apple Watch. And I say that because my father actually has, I don't know how to describe it. Think of it like it looks like a deck of cards, and it's like glued onto the back of his iPhone case. Like it doesn't actually, like it just connects to his iPhone via Bluetooth. And there's basically two pads where he puts his fingers on to make an electrical contact. And it'll do it's not great, like it's not the best, but it's enough for him to keep his constant readings so he can send them into his doctor weekly. And it works pretty good, but it's fucking clunky. Like it's huge. Like it's like 60% of the back of his iPhone. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, he has to have it. And that's cool that tech's there. But now it's like right on the watch. And the way it works is that there's a new basically piece of tech integrated to the heart rate sensor. So on your wrist, then actually the crown of the watch, it now has a sensor in it. And so you're using your wrist, and then you put your opposing hand finger onto the crown, and that creates the electrical circuit, much like I was talking about this other device. And so that'll take the electrocardiogram, and supposedly it's pretty accurate, so that's a big deal. The other big things with the Apple Watch Series 4 is it's now got a dual speaker setup, so it's even louder than any of the previous models. I had an OG Apple Watch, and I know for myself that it was awesome. It had a speaker, but that speaker was, I mean, it worked. Let me put it that way. But it was like how the iPhone 4 speaker, like, it was a great speaker. But then it's like you went to the iPhone 5 and it's like, oh man, that iPhone 4 speaker sucked dick. Like, it was so bad. So now I guess the speakers are much better on the Series 4. Longer battery runtime. I've the reviews have actually started coming in. Apple's billing it as the same 18-hour quote unquote all day battery life, but the reviews are saying if it's like you do a 30-minute workout, one ECG, take a couple phone calls, and do, you know, average watch stuff. They were saying that they were getting all the way from Friday night till Sunday night. So they were getting 2 days off of it, basically. And I imagine that that's probably Apple just lowballing it, to cover their bases. You know what I mean? So the back of the watch still has the sapphire on the actually no. So it's still got sapphire case covering on the stainless steel model. And then the back of the watch still has the cubic zirconium heart rate disc, as it were, but the actual base of the watch is now made out of like shiny black ceramic, much like the high-end ceramic watches of the Series 3. And then the reasoning with that is because you can get a greater wireless signal and better Wi-Fi and better all this sort of stuff with it as well. Both the XS and the Series 4 will include Apple's new proprietary wireless chip, W3, up from the W2 of last year's model. And that will improve battery and wireless connectivity across the board, specifically for the Apple gadgets that have them. So the phone to the watch, and like phone to your Apple AirPods. Speaking of Apple AirPods, no, they didn't announce a set 2 or even the charge case that has been heavily rumored is coming. But I bring those up because I've been real curious about the AirPods. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I want them. They seem pretty cool. And I might have mentioned many podcasts back that I was playing around with Jessica's brother's AirPods one time when I was over there for dinner. And they're really cool looking. Really, really, really slick. And so everybody knows that I got my Jessica brand new this last March's iPad, 2018 iPad with an Apple Pencil so that she can do her art stuff, which is great. Hope she continues to do that. Encourage her to do that. She's on the Discord, by the way. And then she's hemming and hawing on what she's going to get me for our anniversary because we've had our 2-year anniversary already. Yay, congrats. And I was like, honestly, I just want some AirPods. And so she got me some AirPods last weekend. Like, we went down to the Apple store. She got some AirPods. And then spent like 3 hours her clothes shopping and her doing makeup shit. And I was sitting around like a kid in a candy store playing with my new tech gadget, right? Which isn't that new because they came out in 2016. But I gotta say, like, Apple AirPods, I know they're pricey, but god damn, did they like just nail these little gadgets. Like, first of all, the case is amazing. It's hella strong. Charge is great. The pairing is as effortless as holding it near your phone. And it's like, hey, we detected AirPods. You good? Yes, you're done. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's a little more complicated with other Bluetooth things, but you can still connect them to other Bluetooth things. Real fucking shame that the recent Switch 6.0 update didn't fucking have Bluetooth headphone support. It boggles my mind because I know for a fact that the Switch has 6 Bluetooth receiver arrays in it. And I know it can take a bunch of controllers and it's taken 2 Joy-Cons and all that sort of shit, but come the fuck on. Even just like some of those could be used for fucking the fucking wireless. It makes no sense. Come on, Nintendo. Very frustrating. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I got these AirPods. And I gotta say, I love them. They are fantastic. I use them at work. I know they don't fit everybody's ears. They are basically just like the Apple EarPods. Just cut the cord off and then make the actual earpiece just a little bit fatter, a little bit chunkier, which actually feels okay because you want that weight for them to sit in your ear. You don't actually want them too light. Charging has been effortless. I've been going to sleep with them on because I'm a headphone music sleeper person. And I've been using them for work. And using them to take calls while I'm driving. I gotta say, like I've had like a UE Boom 2 Bluetooth speaker in my work van, and it's okay at taking calls. Like it works sort of most of the time, you know. But the AirPods, holy shit, like they're amazing at canceling out sound. Like I took some phone calls in the mall and then also while driving, and they're just like, "Where are you?" It's like super quiet. I was like, "I'm going down the freeway at like 70. It's like loud." Or like I'm in a mall with like 60 girls buying clothes and makeup. So they're like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, these are great." So I can't say enough about AirPods. I know they're old tech, $160, a little pricey, but if you're an Apple person, fuck. I honestly don't know how I had them before. You know, like maybe it was the price. Like I was definitely put off by the price, and I got it as a gift, obviously. But you know, Jesus, they work well. Jesus, they work well. And I was real curious about how to clean them because they definitely get a little more grubbier than the other ones, just because uh, there are no wires, I guess. You know, so it's just that little ear thing. And usually, I'm a big fan of isopropyl alcohol to clean my electronics. But on the AirPods, I've been going sparingly because I'm like, oh, they're still new. I don't want to break them, and they're just so tiny. Definitely the tiniest Apple product, hands down. Like I mean, the Apple Watch is small, but it's like made out of metal and fucking sapphire. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna break this fucking thing. Like the AirPods is like, god damn, they're small. You know what I mean? Because they go in your ear. And I was like, man, how do I want these to last a while. How do I clean them? And so far, I found two things. One, just regular cleaning with like your shower towel actually works real well. And then I found this trick from this Italian dude on YouTube. Um, he uses the like sticky tack stuff for like putting up posters and stuff on your wall, and he just like puts it over like the grills of like where the speaker would come out, and the grills obviously protecting the electronics inside but letting the sound out. And he's like, yeah, because it just picks up the earwax and doesn't leave any residue. And I was like, holy shit, this dude is a genius. So I'm just saying, and throwing that out for all earpod people, or even just like headphone people in general. Sticky tack. Who would have fucking knew? Like you just stick it on, wipe, you're done because it sticks it. What? It's like a couple bucks. Staples. Like, man, I honestly don't know why I didn't Google it before. It's so dumb because I use a lot of headphones. Like I could like right in front of me. There's a PlayStation headset. There's this old Best Buy headset I use for PS4. Obviously Xbox headset. That fucking Sony MDR 7506s I'm using right now. Like I was just damn sticky tack. Go figure. So AirPods, they're great. I highly recommend them. Don't worry about the price. Because I mean it's like you're gonna pay like I think what it was like so there's somebody who has like good wireless earbuds too for like Android and other stuff, and they're like $20 more. Maybe they're like $10 less. I don't remember. But either way, for my hands-on, if you believe my assessments of things, AirPods, they're fucking great. Super good. Um So let's see what other tech stuff. Oh, the other big thing with the XS phones is specifically the XS Max and the XS. They allow dual SIMs. And so what that means essentially is for business people or people who travel. That means for the first time ever, the new iPhone specifically, you can have two different carriers in them basically. So you could have like AT&T for your personal, you could have Verizon for your business, and they'll all go into the same phone. And I guess it's got some sort of like personal and work mode on it now. And so like you'll be able to also keep things separate. But I'm like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. And I myself have actually ordered two XSs, one for me and one for Jessica, specifically for this new thing that's happening that I'll talk about in life. because I will need it for work now. I'll keep my personal number and I'll get a business number. So that'll be interesting to see that. And it also helps roll things into one bill. To clarify on that, so like for example, for me, I'm gonna have 2 phone numbers, both on AT&T, which cuts down on costs a little bit because if you have more numbers, you spend less money on AT&T. I don't know why they do it that way. Whatever. But you could have like Verizon and T-Mobile or T-Mobile and Sprint or whatever the hell. You know what I mean? So that's still cool. You know what I mean? Tech wise, let's see what else happened. So Nintendo Switch Online has launched officially. I have purchased it, and version 6.0 of the console software has come out, and sorry, Fork fam, boy do I have some gripes about this one. So first of all, version 6.0 of the Switch OS or whatever. I definitely do think it is a bit snappier and faster. So kudos to them for making it faster and all that sort of jazz. I'm finally happy that save data backup is finally here. I finally backed up my 300 plus hour, which according to the save file, it's actually 400 plus hour Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild save. And all of my vital data. Got all my... God, I got hundreds of games on that fucking thing. Like, I got it all backed up. But here's my gripe on that fucking saved data thing. So they've got auto upload and stuff, just like PlayStation and Xbox One. However, it will not auto upload unless you've at least played that specific game to the point where it's saved since the 6.0 update. And I was like, are you kidding me? So over the last couple of days, I've literally spent the last 3 fucking hours launching a game, playing till like I die or something, just so that it will auto upload. Now, some people might already ask, like, well, Tim, couldn't you have just gone individually through all the games and hit the manually upload button? And to that answer, yes, you fucking bastard. Yes, I could have done that. But I want the auto upload, because if you manually upload it, it doesn't trigger the auto upload. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So I had to manually go through all the fucking games, and do that. Now, one other bit of gripe, and it's not necessarily my gripe, it's just what I hear people complaining about, and I kind of get it, you know what I mean? But they don't allow the cloud uploading of save data of Splatoon 2, Fortnite, and Paladins. So basically the big online games. Nintendo's rationing is, well, you could hack and cheat your shit on those games. And I was like, okay, fair. Fortnite, not worried about. It's account-based. Paladins, also not worried about. It's account-based. However, Splatoon, that shit is not fucking account-based. It's tied to my Switch. And I'm like, I'm not very far into Splatoon 2, even though I've had it since it came out. And I dig it, but I just, haven't played it a lot. But, like, that's your own fucking game, Nintendo. That's retarded. Like, what? Like, at least let me save, like, my single-player data. Like, I don't really give a shit about my rank 8 or 10 or whatever the fuck I am in the online thing on Splatoon. Like, it's just so dumb. It doesn't make any sense to me. None whatsoever. But yeah, so there's save data upload now. That's great. And now we got to pay for online stuff. However, a nice caveat, and I didn't actually know this, but I guess PlayStation does this as well, but Xbox doesn't. So apparently both PlayStation and Switch, if it's a free-to-play online game, they will not charge you or force you, basically, to have the new Nintendo Switch Online subscription. And yeah, the subscription's super cheap. I'm paying for a family account. It's $35 for a year. And that's for 8 people, even though I only need it for me and Jessica. So, that's already like what? It's $60 for PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold. So it's like way cheaper, which is fine. because it's not that good anyway. um, what you do get is you do get the NES, and you get a collection of classic games. And nerds have already torn apart the code and found out that it's the exact same emulation code as the games that were released on the NES Classic a couple years ago. Um, but that, I think, reviewed favorably, and everybody's really happy with those, emulation ports of those classic games, because that's how you do those old games, because you can't do the hardware differences and all that jazz. I played a bunch of them. I played original Legend of Zelda and Mario and all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's they're NES games. They're not necessarily my favorite thing in the world. Like I don't actually mind the original Super Mario Brothers. I actually think it's one of the better Mario Brothers. I know, real controversial choice, but I'm not a fan of the 2D Marios, so there you go. I'm a Sonic kid, so sue me. Original Legend of Zelda's there, Excitebike's there, some goodies, stuff like that. And I think there's supposed to be 3 new NES games a month with this thing, and maybe some of these rotate out. I don't know. It's not really clear. That's the thing about this Nintendo Online fucking thing. Like, you gotta have it now for Splatoon and fucking Mario Kart. And I guess Mario Party's gonna have online stuff for that. I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to that game, because me and Jessica and date night and stuff with friends and all this sort of stuff. It'd be good. But I already know that I'm going to need it because of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I am utterly hardcore about. Super excited about that. Speaking of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, they announced another goddamn motherfucking Animal Crossing character who's a playable fighter in Smash Bros. Ultimate. They announced the little fucking yellow bear thing, Isabelle. And on the one hand, I'm like, okay, cool. More fighters. More the merrier. I'm fucking down with the bazillion fighters that are going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. However, I'm very competitive with a friend of mine, Chad, in this particular game. And one of his characters of choice is the fucking villager from Animal Crossing, who is just a menace and a horror, and I wish would die in a terrible fire. Because just the fucking... Oh, I hate that. I hate fighting him in that character. And now he's another character that's similar but with different moves, and I'm just like, So, why can they give fucking two Animal Crossing characters and like fucking Castlevania characters? Yes, okay, cool, we finally get Ridley, but like, why the fuck is Knuckles an assist trophy? Like, why is there not Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles in this game? For real. God damn it. Makes me mad. Makes me mad. Let's see. So Game Freak, Pokemon Company, game maker peoples, they announced a brand new RPG called Town with this crazy anime art style coming next year to Switch. Not much is really known about it. Like, they showed a trailer, and it like takes place entirely in town, and you're defending it from monsters. They showed a little bit of the combat system, and it was kind of like, I don't know if anybody's played Scribblenauts, but it was a little Scribblenauts-y, minus the actual scribbling part of Scribblenauts, where like you had a battle menu, and it was like blade plus hilt, and then that turns into a sword, which you can then attack with. Like, you're like pulling ideas from this dude's head or something like that. Like, I don't know. It seems wacky. Could be all right though. So look forward to that next year as well. Big news for ghost-busting fans, but not actually Ghostbusters. They announced the Luigi's Mansion 3 coming to Nintendo Switch next year. I'm excited about that because I fucking love Luigi Mansion games. Like, other than the 2008 Ghostbusters video game that had the original cast and Dan Aykroyd's script that was supposed to be for the Ghostbusters 3 film, which was a fantastic game and a fantastic script. The Luigi Mansion games, closest you're going to get to great Ghostbuster games, because it's that, and I guess there'll be 3 Luigi Mansion games. And the first one was like kind of a teaser, really. Like, it almost felt like a demo. I know it was a launch game on GameCube, but like, you could beat the original Luigi's Mansion in 3 hours. 5 if you want to do everything. Like, that's a short fucking game. But it was great. And then the Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which I still haven't beat. crazy long, crazy detailed, super great. So I'm looking forward to Luigi's Mansion 3. Let's see what else. Dup. I guess that does it for some technology mixed with some Nintendo shit. Let's see what else we got here. So ultra sad for all those Vita Island owners. What's up, Beyond Colin's Last Stand? Or sorry, Sacred Symbols now. Sony has officially announced that the PlayStation Vita will end production in Japan next year. No Vita successor is planned. Big surprise. Vita's been dying a slow, horrible death. But it's true. It's true. There's a Forza Horizon 4 demo on the Microsoft Store for those racing fans out there. Shout out to Burning Wing for that one. Haven't checked it out, downloaded it. Looking forward to it though, because it'll have both a Halo mission and the Warthog drivable in that open world racing beauty. Also, not super big into this series, but Ace Combat 7 is available to pre-order. It's going to be out January 18th with an exclusive PlayStation VR mode, and if you pre-order it, you will also get Ace Combat 5, the full game, for free, and a dynamic theme. Burning Wing, and I would imagine probably Natefu is probably excited about that because they are aeronautics people, and the planes and the games and the flying. And Ace Combat historically been one of the better flight games, so there you go. This is actually huge news, and I cannot believe more people are not talking about this. So, PlayStation Now, which has been around for, 4 years now, which was the streaming service that allowed you'd subscribe to it. It's like $10 or $15 a month or something like that on PlayStation. And it'll allow you to stream just hundreds of PlayStation 3 games to the PlayStation 4. At 720p, which is kind of, whatever on that particular front. But then again, PlayStation 3 had a problem getting some of those games 1080p, so that's probably for the best. But it also cuts down on network stuff. It's a bandwidth thing. So PlayStation Now still doing streaming. However, now on PlayStation 4, it is making all of the games that are PS4 streaming. Those can also be downloadable. So if you're in a rural area and, you need to download a game in like 4 days, and I don't live in a rural area, but I understand that pain because prior to a couple years ago, I had an internet speed of 1.5 megabytes on a good day. Download a second. Yeah. It was slow. It was slow for these big 40 gigabyte games these days. So this is huge, because this essentially makes PlayStation Now very quietly, and in some ways, a little bit better than Microsoft Xbox One's Game Pass. And I have Game Pass, and it's just download only, and their selection is fucking fantastic. But with PlayStation Now, it's like $10 a month, and the titles that are on there for PS4, you can just download or stream them, whatever you prefer. And I'm like, fuck yes. Because I have Games Pass. I've used a couple games on there, not gonna lie. And they have some big games on there. But they're games that I would try, or I'd wait to be on sale at GameStop or something. And for $10 a month, it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Because it's saving you money, and people are getting paid for their product and stuff through Microsoft and Sony, respectively. So I think it's a huge deal. I don't know the quality of the titles that are on there. Well, you know what? Actually, I have my PlayStation. I have my PlayStation open right now. I'm gonna take a look. Where the fuck is PlayStation Now? How do you even find PlayStation Now on the fucking? Is it in the store? This is terrible. I don't even know. We are gonna find out, folks. All right, in the fucking. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I guess I just do play Oh, there it is. Oh, it is an app. Okay. All right, I'm checking it out right now. Oh, it's installed. Okay, so I just need to find out what the fuck it's installed at. Okay, that's great. I have a live hundreds and hundreds of games on my PlayStation. Okay, let's go to the application tab. Let's see here. PlayStation Now. I am firing the PlayStation Now. It is telling me to wait. This is exciting, folks. They have a 7-day free trial, apparently. Okay, launching PlayStation Now. Stream 650 plus PS4, PS3, and PS2 games. Okay, so they're... All right, so they're top 50 greatest hits. You've got Red Dead, PS3 streaming, Bloodborne downloadable, NBA 2K, XCOM 2, Mafia 2, Fallout New Vegas, WWE, Dark Souls 2, Dishonored, Mortal Kombat Complete Edition, Civilization Revolution, Arkham Origins, Bioshock Infinite, Borderlands 2, Injustice 1, Oblivion, Fallout 3, Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, Darksiders War Mastered Edition, Yakuza 5, God of War 3 Remastered, which, by the way, is out on PS Plus for free this month, by the way. Till Dawn, Walking Dead. Oh, man, we're going to get to that. TellTale game series in a bit. Gravity Rush Remastered. Ooh, I recommend that game, boys. Bioshock, Beyond Two Souls, Catherine, Rage, Ni no Kuni, Tekken Tournament 2, Last of Us, Borderlands, Heavy Rain, Journey, Infamous 2, Shadow of the Colossus, Resident Evil 4 HD, Ico, Darksiders 2, Dead Island, Grim Fandango, Broken Age, God of War 2 HD, Helldivers, Infamous, Tropico 5, Killzone 3, Harry Potter Years 1 through 4, Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Oh, that's a fantastic remake. Ratchet & Clank Crack in Time, Resogun, Super Stardust Ultra, Resistance 3, Saints Row 4, Sonic Generations, also fantastic. Spec Ops The Line, Street Fighter 4, Uncharted 3, Uncharted 2, Batman Arkham City. That's top 50. Top 50, everybody. So it's good selection. Good selection. Some of them are PS3 games, so some of them are streamable. But all of the PS4 titles there, or ones that got remastered, those are downloadable. And then something I also missed in this press is PS4 and the PS2 titles that are on here. Those are downloadable. PS3 has to be streamed. And that is most likely due to technical difficulty with the PlayStation 3 being so utterly... I'm a PlayStation fanboy, don't get me wrong. But it's a very customized silicone underneath the hood there. That really bizarre 7-core processor. It's weird. It's weird, and yeah. Comparison to like the 360 and the Xbox One and the PS4, which all share very similar hardware. It's not great for, and that's probably the only way you're gonna get these PS3 games, unless Sony's secretly been working on some really pimp-ass emulators, much like Xbox One has, but at the same time, though, Microsoft has a whole fucking emulation team. Like, I mean, I was running fucking Windows on my Mac when I was a kid, so, like, fucking, like, long before it was officially supported by Apple, like, so they have really good fucking emulation teams over at Microsoft, plus the money to throw at it for days. And I think there's no question there that their backwards compatibility strategy just fucking better. And while this isn't necessarily backwards compatibility because they charge you for it, the fact that you can though now, that's just really cool. Like, I think it's just really cool and it adds a lot of value. I mean, obviously if you pay, but it's not that much. So if you're on a budget and maybe there's a game on there that you didn't have a chance to get or something like that, like that's cool. That's cool. I can only imagine that service will get better now. Haha, PlayStation Now getting better now. That's terrible. Big news for Rocket League. Rocket League now has surpassed 50 million concurrent players across all platforms. So, huzzah, Rocket League, for bringing in the peoples to play the game. All right, so I gotta go on this, which is the title of this week's episode, by the way, folks. So, TellTale Games. I'm actually gonna pull up their full list of games that they've made because I have to. Hang on. TellTale Games. Wikipedia. There we go. So, TellTale Games. It's an American video game developer that's based in San Rafael, California. They were founded in 2004 by Kevin Bruner, Dan Connors, and Troy Molander. They were initially designers, formerly of LucasArts Adventure Division, so like Monkey Island and Full Throttle and all that sort of stuff. They come from that age, and that's why their games share that DNA. And they do episodic gaming and digital distribution, and they're best known for their graphic adventure game series that is usually based on licensed properties. So here, oh man, whoops, oh my god, I can't navigate Wikipedia. Apparently, how do I get back to the fucking? God damn it! I just wiped my thumb across the thing, and I got off of the page that I was on. Fantastic. So here's all the games that they've developed. They had TellTale, Texas Hold'em. They had Bone, out from Boneville, which I played. Big fan of the comic. Check it out. It's historically all kinds of. It won a fucking Eisner Award. It's a great fucking comic. They did 2 episodes before they lost the rights. CSI, 3 Dimensions Murder, Bone the Grant Cow Race, Sam and Max Save the World, CSI Hard Evidence, Sam and Max Beyond Time and Space, Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People, Wallace and Gromit's Grand Adventures, Tales of Monkey Island, which was great. And if you listen to the end of every Dynamic Works Productions podcast, you'll hear Guybrush Threepwood, voiced by Dominic Armando, saying that you're listening to Dynamic Works Productions podcast. Because I met the dude. I met a bunch of these TellTale Games people way back when he was doing the Tales of Monkey Island series, which was back in 2009, almost a decade ago. But I've been using it in my podcast ever since. It also means I've been podcasting for more than a decade. I'm so old. God damn it. They made CSI Deadly Intent, Sam and Max, The Devil's Playhouse, Nelson Tether's Puzzle Agent, CSI Fatal Conspiracy, Poker Night at the Inventory, Back to the Future the Game, which wasn't bad, Puzzle Agent 2, Jurassic Park the Game, Law and Order Legacies, The Walking Dead, which they're very famous for, Poker Night 2, The Wolf Among Us, which was a fantastic comic book representation game. Walking Dead Season 2, also fantastic. Tales from the Borderlands, also fantastic. Game of Thrones, fucking fantastic. Minecraft Story Mode, I don't know, I didn't play it. Walking Dead Michonne, also great. Batman the Telltale series, I played episode 1 and part of 2. Self-Made Dame, one of the founders of the show, big fan of that series. He loves it. Walking Dead New Frontier, Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series, Minecraft Story Mode Season 2, Batman Season 2, The Enemy Within, Walking Dead, the final season, which just came out August 14th, with the next episode set to be released September 25th. So here's the big nail. Here's the nail. TellTale Games. Everything's canceled. Studio's closed. It's over. It's done. What the fuck? What the fuck happened? How do you do all of that stuff, be in business for that long, and have that many properties under your belt? Because here's all the things that are canceled. Here's what they had on their books that they were working on, and everybody has to cease production. So first of all, TellTale Games still exists as a corporate entity. 25 people of over 300 staff remain at this company to finish working on apparently the last season of season 2 to keep working on Minecraft Story Mode, which I guess is the only thing that's making them money, which is really sad. Everybody else is been fired. not severed. They've been all fired. Nobody gets severance pay. Nobody gets unemployment. Some people flew across country to be there with their families. Some people moved there recently because Twitter has just exploded with all of the former employees being like, what the actual fuck? Allegations of terrible crunch time, 40-hour work days, just really bad employee treatment. And yet people did that because they knew what they were making was story-based games and story matters to them. But apparently it mattered a little too much because the company, I guess, is fucking out of money or some shit. And Wolf Among Us Season 2, canceled. Really heartbroken about that. Game of Thrones Season 2, canceled. An Untitled Stranger Things game, which they announced a couple months ago, canceled. And worst of all, for those hoping for fucking closure, The Walking Dead, the final season, well, episode 2 is going to be its final fucking episode, and they won't be able to close out the fucking game because it's already done and it's coming out in a week or whatever. So everybody got fired. Everybody got fucking fired. These are titans of industry when it comes to storytelling. Stuff that things like Detroit Become Human and Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain and all this stuff have been inspired by this type of gameplay design, which, yes, came from the LucasArts era stuff, and they have that DNA, but the story-based game and episodic game is dead. The only ones doing that now are going to be, there's a new series coming from the Until Dawn developers. They're going to do that in episodic form, and Dontnod with the Life is Strange series, which its season 2 is coming out like next week as well. So, damn. I mean, I've played these games on my iPad, my Mac, my Vita. They have some of the games on the Switch now, obviously, not much more. I've played games on my PS3, my Xbox 360, my Xbox One, my PS4. Like, I play their motherfucking games. You know what I mean? And even though I haven't finished some of them, like Batman and Guardians of the Galaxy and Borderlands, like, we're talking a company of over 300 talented individuals who are making story content, and they're out on the street. And kudos to at least the good parts of the game industry, Insomniac Games, Xbox 343, Ubisoft San Francisco, and Epic Games have all launched out their recruiters and be like, hey, if you need a place to land. Because, like, they're talented. Like, look at the support from the industry that these guys are getting. And, yeah, they're out on their asses right now, and they probably don't know what the fuck they're doing this weekend. I know there's a big... Ubisoft is throwing a huge luncheon Monday morning or Monday afternoon for whoever wants to show up. Because there's 300 fucking people there. 300 people who've been in the industry, some of them for years, some of them not, doing these story games that are helping to push forward narrative designs in video games, the likes of which we only really see with giant AAA titles like this year's Spider-Man and God of War and Last of Us and things like Halo and, Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, and it's like, what happened over at TellTale? Because, like, if you go on Twitter right now, because there's 300 fucking people complaining about this, there's apparently bad work environment things, and then they were like, yeah, they made a series of really, really terrible decisions. And, like, remember that thing that we were talking about on Fork in Your Ear, like, a couple episodes ago, where Netflix announced a partnership with TellTale Games to have their TellTale games somehow come to their streaming service? I don't even know how that works. But how do you make such bad decisions that you have to fucking fire every single fucking person from the company and have a shell of a fucking company to just fulfill the last remaining legal obligations before the company just dies in a fucking train wreck fire? Like, if you had some sort of Netflix money and Stranger Things and money from HBO, and obviously they were getting money from fucking Skybound for Walking Dead, and also whoever owns The Wolf Among Us, like, how? They've been around for like a decade. I met some of these motherfucking people like almost a decade ago, sure, but like they're good dudes. Like I don't like what happened. And I think in the coming weeks and months, there'll probably be an expose documentary video, and there'll probably be expose stories, probably on Polygon and Kotaku. Probably Jason Schreier's already on that shit. Like, what the fuck happened? In their official statement from the remaining CEO, blah, 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 blah. Hang on. Where's the official statement? Hang on, I'm trying to find it. Sorry. Oh, here it is on their official Twitter account. This is their official statement. As soon as Twitter loads, come on. Here's what it says. For immediate release. Today, TellTale Games made the difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges. The majority of the company's employees were dismissed earlier this morning, with a small group of 25 employees staying on to fulfill the company's obligations to its board and partners. CEO Pete Hawley issued the following statement, quote, "It's been an incredibly difficult year for TellTale as we work to set the company on a new course. Fortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the games industry. TellTale will issue further comments regarding its product portfolio in the coming weeks." Doesn't make any sense. Like, either their games, like, maybe their games were talked about and reviewed well, and maybe people didn't buy them. Maybe that's why you always saw them on sale in the last couple of years. Maybe not. Maybe they did a bad series of investments, because 300 people, like, that's a huge studio. Any way you slice it. Like, that is a huge fucking amount of people for pretty much most video games. That's AAA level size of people working on games. And it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't, like, that's what I keep going back to. It's like, what the fuck did they do? Were they buying yachts? Were they, like, I don't know. I'm heartbroken and I'm saddened. And I actually made a meme about this, which I kind of regret because the employees obviously are the ones most affected. But I made a meme, and it was from Game of Thrones, and it was a dude who just beheaded a guy. And it's from their TellTale Game of Thrones game, actually. And it was like, I had it pointing at this dude who was holding this beheaded head with his sword and all bloody. And it was like, TellTale Games, trademark. And then below, pointing at the severed head, I said, TellTale employees will remember this. Which, because it was a thing. It's a thing. It's been memed about on the internet for years. Because it's a thing where you'd make a decision and you'd be like, oh, like, Alfred will remember that you put this pumpkin spice next to the mustard in the cupboard. And you're like, oh, shit. Does that mean he's going to betray me? Like that was a thing, like, in these games. And now they're just dead. Well, I mean, with the exception of those remaining 25 people. And so it's like, couldn't they have tried to sell themselves? Like, wouldn't it be in, like, Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft, any of the big guys' interests to have a studio that's producing this story content that has broad public appeal? Because, like, to tell you a little bit about this, like, I played Game of Thrones with a group of my friends who are not video gamers, but they're Game of Thrones fans, and they were just like, oh, this is great. We're making choices in this story about the kingdom and it's Game of Thrones, and we love it. Like, I went over for, like, a couple times, like, over the course of a couple months, and we played through the Game of Thrones story, just, like, shouting out which choices should be made and, like, joking about it. And, like, it was a great time. It was a great time to do with people, even though they're kind of single-player focused games, but you could play them in a group. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Well, in positive news, Spider-Man PS4 is officially the fastest selling PlayStation 4 game in PlayStation 4's history. In 3 days, it sold 3.3 million copies, besting the brand new 2018 God of War's 3.1 million in 3 days. And it took home more money in those 3 days than actually the MCU reboot Spider-Man Homecoming took in over its opening box office weekend. It's been hailed critically. I'm, of course, biased because I'm a Spider-Man fan and I like Insomniac. And it's a fantastic fucking game, and it deserves all the fucking accolades. Really. And even though I'm still not finished with the story, I've been actually kind of doing a lot of side quests and stuff because I feel like I'm at the point where it's like, man, I feel like one more mission, I might be done with the game. You know what I mean? And it's one of those games where it's like, I don't want it to be over. So I've been doing all the little side quests and all the little this and that's and whatnots, and it's just an incredible, spectacularly amazing piece of technological entertainment. It really is. All right, so let's move on to entertainment here. So we got a bunch of shit here. So we got the first trailer to Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel. It looks good and interesting, and one thing that I wasn't expecting from the trailer, it looks mysterious, which is interesting, and it poses the question of, you know, right in the trailer, she's like, well, I don't know if I'm an alien or if I'm really human. I have memories of being both. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. Taking a mysterious approach with it. Looks interesting. You see the suits and the power and all that jazz. So that's cool. Check that stuff out. But arguably bigger news. And I still don't understand this at all. And more keeps breaking on it, seemingly as the days go by. So Netflix has announced a new live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender series coming to Netflix, with the original creators on board to write, produce, and direct, as long with the original series composer is returning as well. And they've said that they're in good hands over at Netflix, and it'll be a live-action retelling of the original trilogy, basically, if they get that far, obviously. So I have several questions. One, how did Netflix get the rights to Avatar? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Avatar and Legend of Korra owned by Nickelodeon, who's owned by Viacom? So how does that work? Did the creators like buy some shares of that? Did they sell it off to Netflix? Because that would be a very wise fucking purchase for Netflix, let's be honest. Because they came out with that Dragon Prince from the head writer of those, not the creator head writer, but one of the head writers, the Dragon Prince, which people say is pretty good, very Avatar-y, even though it's like all fantasy and whatnot. I haven't checked it out myself, so I don't know. So that's cool. Other breaking, which is really quite crazy, considering, and spoiler alerts for Avengers Infinity War, maybe? Question mark? So it's been heavily rumored from cast leaks and scripts and production schedules that the Disney streaming service, whose name I've already forgotten, it's something simple. It's like Disney Live or Disney Now or Disney Magic? Is it called Disney Magic? I don't know. It's called something like that. But the streaming service that's going to launch with the live-action Star Wars TV series from Jon Favreau, apparently both Tom Hiddleston's Loki and Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch are reportedly getting new TV series over on Disney's new streaming service with 8 episodes apiece. And the rumored production budget is to rival most big blockbuster movies, which makes sense, giving those characters power sets. So many questions fill my mind with that immediately. One, because again, spoiler, Avengers Infinity War, Loki and Scarlet Witch are presently dead. Like, so dead right now. So is it a prequel? Because you could do a lot of things with a prequel with Loki, and you could potentially do a lot of things with Scarlet Witch in a prequel as well. Like, what'd she do in the 2 years while she was on the run with Vision or something like that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. But if it's not a prequel, that means that they both somehow come out alive in Avengers 4, which is kind of a big spoiler. And also kind of cheapens the death of Loki in the opening sequence of Avengers Infinity War, and also the death of Scarlet Witch, too. So, neither of those really make sense to me right now, but they're both terrific actors, and I love the characters. And comic book-wise, there's tons of fucking stories to pull from. Loki's been Sorcerer Supreme before. Loki's been good. Loki's been bad. Scarlet Witch, she's technically an X-Men, because in the comics, not the MCU, she's Magneto's kid. She's created whole alternate dimensions before, so that's the thing. So that's cool. More reasons to try that stuff. I'm super excited about this because I'm still real curious about the new HBO Watchmen TV series. But Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have signed on to do the score for the series, so expect some fantastic work. They're a fucking awesome dynamic duo that's done lots of movies together, and I have all those scores that are fantastic. Starting with The Social Network was their first pairing, and also arguably one of their best works, was just fucking fantastic. Trent Reznor, if you don't know, is fucking Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor. Same dude. He's awesome. Go Trent Reznor. I'm down. In the better late than never category, Rainbow Six is finally getting a movie. And Michael B. Jordan is set to star in the Rainbow Six film, which sounds fantastic to me. Fantastic actor. Talked about him many times. He's one of my favorite young actors of this generation, starting with Chronicle. Just absolute steals the scene in all the way. Stole the scenes in Killmonger, such and so. It is just incredible that Michael B. Jordan's just popping up all over the place. It's great. Great for him. Young actor. Just do it. Just do it, man. He's fantastic. So Disney CEO has conceded that he made mistakes with the Star Wars franchise. And he quote-unquote says, "I think the mistake that I made, and I take the blame for, was a little too much Star Wars too fast." They are going to slow down how often and when they will release the Star Wars movies. He's saying starting immediately after the Star Wars Episode 9 by J.J. Abrams, they are doing a full reevaluation of the Star Wars franchise, which is very interesting. Because on the one hand, Last Jedi, absolutely financially success. On the other hand, Solo, a Star Wars story, which I watched again recently, still fantastic as it was the first time, which is a fantastic film, much better than the previous Star Wars story, which everybody knows. And it's kind of an unpopular opinion that Rogue One sucked. It sucked. Some big monkey balls. Nobody's here to defend it. So, there you go. Sorry, folks. You're driving down the road, or you're like, "God damn you, Tim. God damn you. You know that Darth Vader scene was excellent." Like, I do know that scene was excellent. As was K2SO. Wasn't excellent any of the other characters. Whom I didn't get a and that's the other thing. Like, I gave more of a shit about Director Krennic, than I did anybody else. I did act his ass off. But anyway, I digress. So big. It's sort of techie, but it's more related to the entertainment thing. So the U.S. Senate has passed a bill modernizing music licensing and payouts. So basically, we're going to try and wrap this up in layman's term nutshells here. So essentially, it means that there's going to be a publicly accessible database detailing who owns a song and making it easier for publishers and artists to be paid royalties. Song reproduction charges have also been updated to reflect market rates, and sound recording royalty rates will also be taken into account when considering performance royalty rates for songwriters and composers. So what does this mean for you, the end user? So for common people, probably not now, but down the line, it means probably there's going to be price increases on, albums and stuff on iTunes and Amazon, and subscription services like Apple Music and Spotify and Pandora and stuff like that. But what it does mean for the music artists is they get more money, which is a good thing ultimately because you want them to produce more. And what that ultimately means is, even though obviously the big people are going to get more money too, but that means the smaller people who are trying to fucking scrape by and make ends meet, and they like push out an album and they're trying to get their shit together, but they're making you cool shit and they're like bleeding from their ass trying to make this thing while dying of some other horrible image. See, this is what happens when Mike is not here to rein this shit in. This is what happens, okay? You're just going to have to suffer through it, okay? It's ultimately great for them. And for people like myself, who I actually have an album waiting in the wings for when I finish. I say this jokingly because it's just set so undone. I have an audiobook for the Citadel Arrival that's mostly done in some respects. And I just don't have time to do it. And I'm doing so many projects and I'm doing so many things at all times. It's a wonder I even have time to play video games and podcast as much as I do. And I'm podcasting more now than ever, especially with our The Fork in Your Path game, which has its own set of fucking problems, where it keeps getting submitted to iTunes, it keeps getting canceled for some reason, or some iota of the code is wrong, and I'm going back and forth between them and Libsyn. It's this whole fucking thing. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't want it anymore. I mean, I want to do the thing. I just don't want the problem of the things. You know what I mean? So other big news, Disney has confirmed plans that Kevin Feige, MCU mastermind and overlord, the super producer, that he will oversee the transition of the X-Men franchise into the MCU. I mean, was there any doubt? He oversees Marvel Studios, so of course the dude is handling the fucking transition. Of course he is. But that's fantastic, because I mean, we could... I'm hearing rumors that there's going to be 6 months of reshoots for Avengers 4, which doesn't mean that Avengers 4 is bad. I think what that really means is, yeah, we're getting fucking X-Men in that film. Or something. Multi-universe? I don't know. We don't even know. We don't know. Another cool bit of thing for artists again, Spotify is going to now let artists directly upload their music to its platform. I didn't read the article on this, but just a cursory glance, it sounds to me like they're basically being like SoundCloud, essentially. But probably, they can cut out like a middleman, as it were, and I have my blah album on Spotify. That's where you can buy it. And so you're cutting out, a third party, an intermediary who might be you pay somebody and they put it on iTunes and Spotify or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's cool. Oh, Mike's not here, so I don't know. So they showed Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in the Joker makeup. He's got red clown eyebrows above his normal eyebrows, and he's got a turquoise slash through one eye, and then red clown nose, and kind of the traditional creepy Nicholson, Heath Ledger kind of Joker, red around his thing. He's got white paint and his hair is long and green. So on the one hand, looks way more Jokery than Jared Leto's Joker. On the other, it also kind of looks like the masks that the crew was using in Heath Ledger's Joker, or even Michael Keaton's Batman. Looks more like that. Yeah, I just have no faith that this movie's going to be good. And don't get me wrong, I actually think that Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor, and I think he's entirely capable of having a depth to pull off the Joker character. I'm just not a fan of a Joker solo movie. Joker is a fantastic character, but unlike, say, Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man, I don't think he stands on his own enough. If you had Joker and Harley Quinn, that's a movie. Because if you look at all the dynamics where there's been Joker and Harley Quinn, they work so well together and play off of each other, and they have a dynamic. They have storylines and stuff together. But if it's just the Joker, Joker doesn't work well on his own without other characters. And I'm not saying there's not going to be other characters in this movie, because we have no idea what this fucking movie's going to be about, really, other than the origin of the Joker. I just think without some kind of let me put it this way. How less great were the other Pirates of the Caribbean movies after the focus moved over to just Jack Sparrow? Jack Sparrow is a great character. You can't have too much of him on screen. Like, it ruins it. He's a character that demands, much like the Joker himself, an opposite reaction. You know, that's what makes that dynamic work. And that's why people love the Joker. Or at least that's my opinion on perhaps one of the reasons why the people like the Joker. But I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Time will tell in that particular one. Let's see. So video games. What else did we cover? Technology. Life. So the biggest thing that I got going on in life right now is myself and Jessica and Brock from the Fork in Your Path podcast. We've all become a terrific trio, and we're going in and we are actually buying my father's automatic door business from him. And I'm going to go be president and CEO in that, and she's going to take over the office, and he's going to be field hand and electrician. And so, you know, it's all boring real world stuff and nothing cool and exciting and entertainment. But it's some crazy stuff, because a lot of things are going to change for me and her and his life over the next couple of months. You know, we're supposed to be taking over this company. Both Jessica and Brock put in their 2 weeks notice a week ago, because we didn't record last week. So starting October 1st, we're all going to be working together. That'll be interesting. Jessica's moving in with me, probably for a short term, because at the beginning of the year, me and her, or maybe me, her, and Brock, we're all going to have to find a home. So there's like a ton of like adulty, like wearing your big boy pants shit that I've got to do, basically. And hopefully it won't impact the frequency or quality of the Fork in Your Ear podcast, because it's very near and dear to me. Grown this little baby out of nothing. It's great to see it kind of walking around and spitting up on people. That's terrible. But yeah, a little shorter than usual podcast, and I'm sure I've been talking very rapidly because I have nobody else here right now. Not even Jessica, because surprise, she's at home, at her other home, packing up her shit to come here, or at least continuing to. So anyway, that's what's going on. Mike will hopefully be back next week's episode, when Hurricane Florence is not fucking with his internet constantly. So hopefully you enjoyed this solo episode, which probably kind of went roller coaster between pacing, because I've stopped and paused this recording so many times, because I've been recording for probably about 5 hours now, but it's probably going to be like a 2 hour or an hour and a half show, because of both edits and also breaks and, you know, that kind of dealy magic shenaniganry stuffs. Anyways, email the Fork in Your Ear podcast. What is our email? We have one. This is terrible, because I'm not even like Mike's can't be like, oh, it's blah blah blah. It's blah 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 blah. And this is me making noises while I go into my notes to find things, because I am just a fucking worst. Okay, here we go. We're on Discord. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Fork in Your Ear podcast, Twitter @GetForkPod. And you can email us, theforkinyourearpodcast@gmail.com. We are on iTunes and everywhere else you want to be or want to find stuff. Remember, you can buy my book, The Citadel. That's actually another surprising life thing. So we all know hundreds and hundreds of you listen to this show. I know, because I have these statistics. And a select few of you write in or join our Discord and stuff, and that's great. And I love all of my inner circle Fork family members. But I had a shocking bit of life news where the other day I was going through my emails and I got a Amazon royalty payment for my book, The Citadel Arrival by Tim K. Trotter, available right now on his Amazon Kindle store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99. Get a free preview download when you visit those stores, and it's a short story, 160 to 190 pages, depending on your screen size. And somebody bought it, so I earned like $2. And it's somewhat funny because it's like I work in construction, so I deal with things that are like thousands of dollars. But I'm more proud of that fucking $2 that I earned off of that book than probably anything else. Like if I made like tons of money off this podcast, which let's be honest, I don't. That ad at the front of the fucking show here for Cosbond, that's to help out my buddy Brian, and because he's, I mean he's making money, but it's just it could be better. So we'll see how that goes as well. Definitely go check out Cosbond. Cosbond.com. Fix all your shit. It's great, actually. I use it for work all the time. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the show. It's real sad. We have a website. It's not been updated in forever, but it's there. Eventually you'll be able to find the link to both the Discord and the Fork in Your Path, our Pathfinder RPG actual play podcast that we've been doing for a while, and we got a shit ton in the can. It's just like I've got stuff. Some of them are edited, some of them aren't, and I'm still fighting with iTunes, which is the most annoying thing ever. I'm just trying to fucking give them content that's free. What kind of world we live in right now? It's nuts. But yeah, you can check that stuff out at dynamicworksproductions.com, which I guess I forget to pimp from time to time. And you can actually email us at dynamicworks@mac.com too. If you forget any of that. We also have a company Twitter, Dynamic Pro, and Facebook, Facebook.com/dynamicworksproductions. So that's what we got. That's what occurred this week. So without any further ado, I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, gamer, Tim K. Trotter, signing off alone in the lair. And we'll see you, or hopefully hear from you all, next week. Get forked. And then, because Mike's not here, Shazam!
Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
Armado, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival by author Tim K. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. I really cannot hear myself because I'm hearing myself in stereo because I can't do the fucking monitor shit. How the devil do I stop the input monitoring? This one? No? Shit. I guess I could just turn my fucking volume down. That works. Haha, I'm a moron. I figured it out. Yeah, it's not like I haven't recorded with the actual recording software in ages. It's always done by the auto recorder. I got this. Success. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Oh my god, my voice. It's testing. You know how I know it's testing? Because I can fucking hear myself in the headset. Ooh. I love hearing all this garbage when you edit it, right, Tim? Cut in! That's right, I gave myself a cut in. Yeah. Least favorite things. Flying solo. Okay. Nope, that's not off. There we go. Okay. Volume's all the way down. Recording input. All right, we're just gonna free ball it. Go a little bit closer. Like, oh, where's my level monitor? There she is. Yeah, success. That's popping quite a little bit. It'll be okay. All right, here we go. Real cut in this time, Tim. Solo, you can do it. I believe in you. Cut in.